Last night, I went to the cinema with my daughter. We went to a sneak night. That means that you go in, but you have no idea what you're going to see. A surprise. A couple of minutes after the movie began, I knew we were up for a treat. It was a real feel-good movie about two New Yorker friends, I think in their late 30s or early 40s, and their relationships and things that are happening to them. What was nice was that one of the first scenes was a scene in which one of them is giving birth. But what was even more special was that during the movie, they were not shy from showing all the things that are happening or can happen to a woman at the postnatal time. That means the hours, the days, the weeks, and sometimes the month after she gave birth. They were showing almost everything, or at least what they showed in a very accurate way. And today, just 12 hours later, I'm hosting Tamar Shain-Paz, who is a postpartum doula. A doula who is supporting women in the days and the weeks and the month after giving birth. Welcome to another episode of Moving Forward with the ICCI, where coaching meets real life, the podcast of the International Coaching and Counseling Institute. Today I have Tamar Shain-Paz with me. Hi, Tamar.
Hi.
Let's tell everyone that we actually don't know each other for very long. We met 10 days ago. You came here as part of a book club that I happened to host, and you were new and you joined. And I immediately fell in love with you and your attitude and everything you had to tell about yourself. And when you told me what you're doing, I knew I'm going to ask you to come to the podcast as a guest.
Thank you so much.
So you came here all the way from Amsterdam on public transport. I'm
Yes.
really appreciating this.
Thanks for having me here.
Shall we tell people what it is that you're doing?
Yes, let's do it.
So you are a doula. But not just any doula that is helping women just before birth or during birth, but you're specializing in helping women after birth and
Yes.
the month after birth. And the reason that it connects so much to our podcast is that what we do in the podcast is either tell very inspiring stories or showing people how they can help themselves or how they can help others. And I think that part of what you're doing is combining both those things.
Mm-hmm.
So really over to you. Tell us who you are, what it is that you're doing, how did you come to do it? Come on, I'm really interested. But before we start, I always ask this question to all our guests, if I remember. When did you first hear about coaching and what did you think about it?
So I think I heard about coaching a long time ago, but just as a word, like I didn't really know what it means. I never had any experience with coaching. I think I thought that it's something you would do if you want to achieve a certain goal, but you don't know how. I don't know why I thought that.
There is a reason to think that.
And I don't know if I'm right, because I never really had
You're partly right, yes.
Yeah, so this is my answer. I hope it's a good one.
Definitely. There's no good or bad in this one, but you're right. Part of what coaches can do with you is help you to reach a certain goal. But the profession has expanded a lot since those first goals, and we do much more. But yes, you're right. This is definitely part of it.
Okay,
so
yes.
Whether you're right or wrong, you are right.
Okay.
So, doula.
Yes. So actually, I'm a postpartum doula. Just to make it clear that it's not I do not provide the service of helping during birth.
Yeah.
Okay. Because usually we know doula as a woman who accompanies a woman in her birth or before her birth. But I do the part that is after the birth. In my eyes, in my opinion, birth is one of the most important moments and events of a woman's life, but it's only the beginning. It's only the gate to a completely new and unknown chapter in her life. And therefore, I believe that we need some kind of someone to accompany us,
Yeah.
someone to help us, someone to be there for us. As women, I believe that we had a long, long history of giving birth and mothering inside a tribe. Life back then were totally different than our life today. And even though we grew a lot with technology, we're far more advanced in our rights, etc. But the natural thing of being a mother and handling all of the things that are connected to it in today's society made something of a gap that is really, really hard to bridge by ourselves, alone at home.
Because what you're saying is when we were living in tribes or in much closer communities, physically closer communities, there was always somebody there to support women, to help them, of course, in the birth itself, but immediately after as well. I remember my grandma's stories that in where she grew up, they were giving birth, I think it's called nunnery, like with nuns. And for a whole month, women stayed in that place and were helping, with nursing. They didn't do anything at all. And I remember her story that when she gave birth to my father in a concentration camp.
Wow.
After the war, after the Second World War. But it was a refugee camp, but literally a concentration camp. She was crying to my grandfather that she will never get the pigeon soup because that was her dream. Because obviously that's what they gave there. But we also know, of course, stories from much before, the red tent in biblical times. And just women were there for each other. And all of a sudden, we live alone. We live in boxes, houses, apartments, away from the bigger families. And like you're saying, the gap is then, there's a physical gap, but obviously there are other gaps as well, right?
The physical gap is one that you can see, but I feel that our emotional gap that is being very much silenced in our society is something that will not disappear. It will keep being there and growing, and eventually it will hurt us and our children and our families to some extent, of course.
Yeah.
And I feel that maybe I will go to my story, and then I will just speak
that's
like
the best.
I will speak from my point of view.
Stories are the best.
Yeah. Okay. So I gave birth to my son, my first and only son, 4.5 years ago, March 2020. I lived in Israel at the time, and 1 week after I gave birth, the first the pandemic started. Yeah, the first lockdown started.
Oh my goodness!
So like the pandemic only began, and suddenly I found myself completely alone. Of course, my partner was there at home, but like he had to work, and we didn't have any visitors, even not grandma and grandpa, and no one cooked for us, and no one saw us.
Yeah.
And I felt very quickly that, does he really exist, my son? Like, is it really happening now? They grow up really fast when they're so small, and no one saw him. Like, it's just me and my husband. Like, are we really experiencing that now? Like, it was so lonely. And apart from that, I just felt that I did not have someone to lean on. I had a lot of questions, a lot of problems, a lot of stuff that were just happening as we go. And a part of being very tired and, crazy with the hormones and everything, I just felt that this is not the way that it should be. When other friends of mine before that gave birth, I would go to them, but I didn't really know what to do for them, what they really needed. And I think that they didn't really know what they needed as well. But they had their mothers or their grandmothers or their older sisters or their aunts or whatever to maybe tell them what they needed or help them a little bit.
Or see sometimes what they needed.
Exactly. Or see them and see what is their situation. And so I feel like that my story is quite extreme. And I would go out and say that I had a quite severe postpartum depression, which lasted more than a year. Obviously, I guess that it had something to do with that extreme thing that we went through. But I really started to think a lot. I thought a lot about motherhood and how are we doing that and why we're doing that. And I really, in my past, I'm an anthropologist, so I think a lot about society and people and stuff like that. So I kind of did that to myself. And I really couldn't stop thinking, like, how is it possible that no one talks about all these really, really hard things that young mothers are going through every day? How is it possible that, like, in a good society, the husband or the partner will go back to work in, like, I don't know, a month? In the very good scenario, right?
Exactly. Here in the Netherlands, a day.
A day.
Yeah. You have another function, the Kramzorg, the special nurse that comes home, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But the husband gets the day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's
maybe
like
2 days. Maybe it got better now than compared to 12 years ago when I gave birth here. But yeah, we were quite surprised that it's only a day, especially in a country like the Netherlands.
Yeah.
It's so open,
Yeah.
so equal rights and stuff.
Yeah.
But they do have that Kramzorg, the nurse.
But she's also for like 2 weeks. She comes
max. Yeah. I think
And then what? Like
8-10 days. Yes.
and it's from the little things, like you're tired, like and you want your baby to sleep, but then he fell asleep on you, but you need to pee and you need to eat and you need to make the food and you need to do the laundry, but then you're like, everybody's telling you, okay, when he sleeps, go to sleep. When he sleeps,
the biggest lie ever.
Exactly. That was my very most hated sentence.
Yeah.
Like I felt offended by it. Like, how can you tell me that? So it's that, but it's also like very small things when you decide something, like I want to breastfeed.
Yeah.
But then they tell you, but it's not enough milk and you will hurt him, and all kinds of just random things that people tell you. And when you're so full of hormones and you're so, I don't like it's like your skin is so thin. That's what I felt. That everything goes in really, really strongly.
You mean metaphorically?
Yeah. But I felt that, like, I how can I handle everything? How can I do this? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then I started really thinking a lot about the tribe and how much sense that made. That, like, it's not only that people were around the woman who gave birth. Each of them had a specific role in her upcoming as a mother. So it's and then I'm alone and I need to do everything by myself. How does it make sense? I need to heal.
And a pandemic, which was scary as it is.
Yeah. And of course I, like, if it wasn't enough just to handle with a baby and me, it was just like, how did I bring this creature to the world that is ending? Because that's how we felt.
Of course.
Like, what did I do to him? And all these kind of things. And I felt really, really confused and miserable. And, like, I really loved him and I wanted to be with him all the time, because sometimes when women are in postpartum depression, they don't want to have connection with the baby. So it's not always like that. But I did feel that I wanted to be with him all the time. But I felt that, like, this is not how it's supposed to be. I felt really like a really big gap in my thought of, like, between my thoughts and my experience, between what I thought I knew or what I imagined motherhood would be and to what it really was.
Yeah.
And in addition, I want to add that me as a person, thought of myself as someone who is very, who really wants to learn and like really is thinking things through. And I really did prepare for the birth a lot, but I never, ever, ever, ever thought of one day after the birth. Like, how would it be? No one told me about it. None of my friends, no one. And I was so angry. So angry. Like, how is it possible that in our society, it was 2020, how is it possible that I'm like Googling birth, but no one is writing anything or saying anything about
The day
postpartum?
after.
Yeah, like 1 year after. Nothing. Yes. It just didn't make sense to me. And then I started to just...
Maybe there's a lot of information about the baby.
Exactly.
And what to do with the baby and how to nurse and how to...
Exactly.
But not about us,
exactly.
the mothers.
This is exactly it. There is tons of information, but everything has to do with the baby. Also, when you don't have the pandemic and people come to visit you, they buy gifts for the baby and they want to touch the baby. And you're just left out. You're like a empty vessel. Like, you did your job, okay, the baby's here, but what about me? Like, I need to heal. I had a tremendous experience. Doesn't matter if it was good or bad or partly bad or whatever, but it's such a huge thing. Doesn't matter if it's the first or fifth birth that I'm giving. It's still a thing. Absolutely. Right? I mean, and like, and even, you know, from older women, like, I kept thinking, like, did you forget you gave birth at some point? Like, how come you don't see me, right? Yeah. I mean...
They say that we do, you know, because otherwise we would not have done it again.
Yeah, for sure.
But maybe it's kind of a defense mechanism that we do forget those really hard times in the first few days and after.
Yeah.
And we concentrate on the baby. I think it's probably genetically and biologically done.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, it doesn't mean we need to ignore it. So
I don't think that most women or society in general are doing it like in purpose. But I think that there is it's easier to look at the baby, so cute, and like he's like full of life and optimistic and blah. And it's really hard to sit with a woman and hear all the bad things. And so,
if she tells the bad things, because we are supposed to be so happy.
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of there's a heavy weight, I think, on the woman to be happy and to be thankful, to appreciate what she has. And I think it's so complicated to be that woman after birth who is not, like, maybe she's not happy, but she is very confused.
Yeah.
And she's not on top of things. And maybe she was a person that used to be on top of things just a few weeks ago, but now she's like, she doesn't know herself anymore. She doesn't know what to ask, but she doesn't even know how to ask for help, maybe, or, you know, it's so complicated. And I think if you're lucky, you have your mom next to you and she's the right fit, right? I mean, sometimes women have their mom next to them, but she's not giving them exactly the support that they need.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky, you will have that. But most women either don't have the right support or don't have support at all. And then there's like just a huge hole that no one can fill. And that's where I am entering the picture.
Yeah.
My goal is to let every woman after birth be whole, be complete with whatever they have been through and whatever they are experiencing at the moment, in order to be the moms that they want to be and that they are willing to be.
Yeah.
I think that I want to see it as the infrastructure for the whole life. It's a new life. Like, doesn't matter what you thought of it before, but when you give birth, your life as you knew it is over.
Yeah.
And a new chapter is beginning. But if you don't have the right infrastructure, it's going to be really, really hard to do that.
Yeah.
So my goal is to provide any woman that will need the right support. And I even want to see it as some kind of an initiation to the new role that she's taking on herself.
Yeah.
But she didn't really maybe know that she's taking on such a big role. I mean, we see mothers everywhere in the street. It's not like a big deal, right? We think that...
we think it's not a big deal, but
exactly.
it is a big deal.
It's the biggest deal. But we, like, as mothers, we don't show it outside, like out. We don't show out the difficulties. No one talks about it freely. And therefore, when we are having struggles, we think that we are weird or defect or... And this is my goal, like to just share normal stories about difficulties about postpartum in order for women to hear them and read them and know that it might happen to them and that they are not defect.
And that they are not alone.
And that they are not alone. Exactly.
So tell me, how does it work exactly? How does your work, like your daily work with a woman who just gave birth, how does it work?
So usually it's kind of like a two-way procedure.
Yeah.
So there's the technical support. Like for example, I'm afraid to bathe him. I don't know how to hold him. How much does he need to be fed? All the questions that a mother would have, like from day one and until 1 year. Like the development that the kid needs to go through, all these kind of stuff. So I have answers. I learned it, and then I can help. Just letting you know. And if there's something wrong or not that I see that something is not going well, I can like tell you to go to a professional that is out of my exactly, to refer further. But for me, the more important part of my job is the emotional support. When I was in Israel, I came home to you after your birth. Now it's via Zoom, but it's kind of the same. I need to see you. I need to see your eyes. I need to see how you feel. And I need to hear your voice. To really have as much as a clear picture of what's really going on, because it also has to do with a lot of shame. And sometimes you will not admit to anyone that you're having a hard time or you're not happy with the baby, or you have even worse thoughts going on in your head. So the emotional support is I came to find is my niche. Because I feel that a lot of times you need to go further in with the woman, and you actually create a real bond.
Yeah.
And there are women that I am probably the first or even only person in their lives at the moment that they can share everything with, and it's heartbreaking, but at least I'm there. Like I don't want to even start imagine what would happen if I wasn't there for them. So I just so let's go back to your questions. I come back home, I go to their home, and it's like around a 1.5 or 2 hour meeting. I don't prepare anything because I let them just say whatever they need
to bring their stories. And
and usually we have a few meetings depending on their needs. It can be from like how to answer her mother in a way that would not
create a clash.
Yeah. Or how to bring her husband into the new family and their needs, and to make him understand what she needs, or to overcome fears that she has regarding herself or her new self.
Yeah, the new role.
And like every time a woman is becoming a mother, she loses her old self, and it also involves a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And no one really talks about that.
It.
So it can go a lot of different ways, but that's like very general picture of what is going on there. And it's not like a psychological treatment or something like that. It's very open. We cry together. There are not a lot of boundaries that are very held there.
It really is really from a support place.
Yeah.
No therapeutical place. More like a being there to support, to be with you, to let you cry on my shoulder, to tell me the story. I listen to you. Somebody who's there for you.
And I'm not judging you at any point.
Yeah.
You can tell me everything. You are good as you are, and you're going through so much. And if no one understands you, that you need me, like a person from outside, I believe you. I'm there just for you. And as we said before, most people will think about the baby, but I am first and foremost, I'm thinking about the mother. Yeah. Like I think, okay, yeah, someone will take care of the baby, right? I mean, they will not be hungry. They will not, everything will be fine. But the mother, a lot of times people don't see the mother, and I'm there to hold the mother.
Sometimes the mother doesn't see herself.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of what happened to me in the beginning. I think that like I kind of, I was used to, I didn't know that, but like, when I think about it now, I was like, okay, I will eat later. I will shower later. But then this later never arrives if you don't take action, because it's really stressful times. And you live suddenly, like from 0 to 100, you are in someone else's world, and you need to follow someone else's deadlines and timelines and needs, of course. And if you won't eat now, maybe you won't eat for the next 3 hours, or I don't know, So
or you will eat something that's so unhealthy,
exactly.
You just go to the fridge and grab something.
Yeah. But like I remember specifically a day that he fell asleep on me, and I was alone at home, and I just couldn't get up from the sofa for hours. I have to pee. I have to eat. So and just to understand that and to have compassion for yourself. That it's really hard. It's really, really hard.
You know what? When you're talking, I'm pretty sure we mentioned it in the podcast already, but it's something that really is worth keep repeating. That concept that I learned from, I know you're 10 years younger than me. I learned it from a girl who used to live here. Her name is Moran. She was 10 years younger than me, but she taught me that concept. If you do not fill up your cup, you cannot give from your cup to others.
Exactly.
And I think in motherhood, that's so obvious, and especially just like you're describing, if we're not taking care of ourselves, eventually we will not be able to carry on giving to our, in this case, to our baby. Let alone if there are other children in the house as well, if that's not the first birth. We will exhaust ourselves to the point that either we will get depressed, or we will not heal physically quick enough, or it will be some kind of combination. If it's not going to be proper depression, but we will feel low and down and lacking of energy, and we won't be able to give as much as we potentially can if we're not taking care of ourselves. And in time like that, it is so obvious that it isn't the little things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, taking that shower, going to the toilet by yourself, for a minute alone, eating that healthy meal, doing something for myself. If not reading, then maybe, I don't know, watching something on Netflix when breastfeeding. I don't know. It can be many, many things, but something for me, that little moment for me. And we are expected to give such a lot that is just clearly unbelievable. Something crazy just happened now. I said the word Netflix and the TV just switched on because it's a smart TV.
Wow.
If I say Netflix, it will open Netflix. Unbelievable. The big brother.
So maybe we need to say help and then help comes?
Maybe. I think we need to be specific with what help we want. Madness. So you're coming and you're chatting with them, you're there for them. I'm guessing if there's anything physically that they need as well, like hold my baby for a minute so I can
but I will always ask.
Of course.
If they want me to hold him, or maybe they want to just be with him. But of course, everything that has to do with all their needs. If their needs is regarding the baby, so of course. If their needs, of course. And everything that they need and I can fulfill. Of course, I will not do the laundry for them because it's not my my job. But I can, maybe, sometimes mothers tell me, okay, I'm overload. I cannot handle. So I'm like, okay, let's think maybe you have a neighbor who can come and help with the laundry, for example. Or maybe there's
or somebody to pick up the kids from kindergarten.
Yeah, let's think together because you're so tired. You cannot really think clearly.
True.
Let's just think together what we can do to make it easier for you. If you can order food from outside, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Yeah,
So
let's
find
solutions together.
Yeah.
If you're saying that she's lonely and she wants more company, so let's think maybe there's like a mother's hangout in the coffee every Monday morning. Let's find it. Let's help you get out of the house a little bit. Maybe there's like I don't know, a therapist nearby that you can go visit if you feel that you need anything that I can help you with that will make your life easier and better. I'm there for that. Let's think about it together.
Yeah, and a lot of times, anyone, but like we're talking about mothers, so young mothers, not because they are young, but because they are young in their motherhood. They don't know what exists there for them.
Exactly.
Like you're saying, like a mother and baby morning session. They don't always know that there is such thing, to look for it. Where is it? What do you do there? And a lot of times, again, I remember myself as a very young mother, that my husband actually found that there is baby yoga in the local community center. And I went there and I hated every minute. But there were 6 or 7 other mothers there with babies more or less the same age as my daughter at the time. And we became friends. Not best friends, but at least once a week I knew that I'm hanging with, an hour and a half baby massage and then coffee together. And to normalize things, to see that other mothers have the same problems, and
I think
their children also do, like the dirty, the nappy all the way up to their backs. And
Exactly. All of these things that no one will talk to you about when you're not a mother.
Yeah.
So it's and then it makes you feel really alone.
True.
And the normalizing part is really an important part of being a postpartum doula, because you don't know all these stuff before you were a mother. Even if you're a second or third time mother, you already forgot about these stuff. So I'm there to just remind you that it's super normal, and that, like, for example, in the 3rd day after the birth, you're so filled with hormones, you're gonna go crazy, and your kid at the same day
needs you the most.
Yeah, he's having a really hard day on the 3rd day after the birth. It's a known fact.
True.
So but if no one tells you about it, you're lost. You think that something is wrong, etc. And because in the first year, the baby is going through so many changes. If you know what's coming, You will probably be less stressed about it, or worry less, or even just even if it's the worst day, you know that it's like it's okay because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I think most of my work is to show mothers that this is how it's supposed to be, right? But if they really truly have a problem, I'm there for them to help with this problem.
And how do people get to book you, like call you? Is it before the birth? They know that they will need it after?
This is the most important question, because I think that this is one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing. I would like more and more women to know a few things. One, that it's really hard being a new mom. Really, 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 really hard. Second, that you're allowed to ask for help. And the third is that there is such a thing as a postpartum doula.
Yeah.
Because no one knows about it, right? I did know about it. So my mission is to talk about it like we do now. But also, I think that the challenge is that when you're pregnant, you don't want to hear about the bad stuff. True. It might happen. You only want to think good thoughts and positive thoughts and prepare for your amazing labor.
Yeah.
And this is my challenge, to tell you, okay, of course you want to have everything really great, but life doesn't always work like that. And I'm inviting you to know the facts, and when you probably will encounter hard times, talk to me. But I don't want you to talk to me when you're already depressed.
Yeah.
I would like you to meet me before your birth.
Yes.
And to prepare, not just for the birth, but for the day after the birth.
Yeah.
And this is something that I do that I really love. I do meeting with both parents, like a session, like a 3-hour session for both of them to open up their hearts and to share, to talk to each other about what they expect from each other, and, stuff that they probably never had to do before.
Yeah.
And I really believe in this meeting because I think that it will really strengthen them as a couple and as individuals towards their biggest change in their lives.
So what you're saying is that a meeting like that, if ideally, will take place in the last stage of pregnancy, or towards the end of pregnancy, when we're discussing things, you with the couple, which are not about the birth. That's the doula that is in the birth. She will talk about all the procedures. What would you like? Would you like him to do that? Would you like him to put music and all that? But you're talking from the moment she's back in the ward, or here in the Netherlands, a lot of women give birth at home. So from the moment the baby is born, a few hours later, everything is fine. And then what do we need from each other? How are we going to do
each other?
things?
But also, like, who is our circle of support? Yeah. Like, we have, each of us have a few circles of support, right? The very main one, the further ones.
Yes.
What we can expect from each person over there, how we can ask, what can we ask from my mom that will be the best for her to do, stuff like that. What I need from you as my partner.
Yeah.
What I don't need from you as my partner.
Yeah.
What you need, because, a lot of times when women already, talk about their struggles,
yes,
they don't, and I did it myself. I didn't find the powers in me to see my husband as someone who's also going through something right now.
Yes,
right.
Of course.
It's not just my struggle.
Yeah.
So I think that this conversation opens up some kind of a gate to recognize that both of us are going through something, and we will both need each other.
Yes, and this. Despite the fact that you were the one that went through pregnancy and gave birth, he is also either like a new father or a father again, with all the questions that brings and all the difficulties that can bring and the responsibilities that can bring.
Mm-hmm. And
So you're together with this, and obviously his partner, wife, or whatever is changing, going through something, sometimes something very difficult. We know that some men find it very difficult to or even think that their partner went through something so difficult during birth. Some of them, I know a few stories of nearly losing their partner because of such a traumatic birth. That's a trauma in itself, to think that, oh, what could have happened? And all this we don't speak about.
Yeah. But and also, even if the birth was quite okay, still we need to acknowledge that from being a couple, that like my husband is like the most important person for me in the world, and I love him so much. Suddenly, there's a new person
That's most important for us in the world.
Yeah, and like they feel bad for that as well, right? And they don't even know to say that to themselves, let alone to tell us what they feel, etc. So all of that is, let's talk about it before.
Yeah.
Why not,
and
right?
And the dynamics, father, mother, from who gets up at night to feed the baby.
Yeah, and your parents, they told me that
Yeah.
all these the family matters and expectations from
and colleagues, what they've done, and everybody has something to say. And at the end of the day, it's let's say the three of you, the partner and the baby, and you have to do it in your way. So from what I'm hearing, it's very similar to coaching, because this is what we do. We are listening to the situation, and we are trying to find solutions to how to go with it best. There is more to coaching, but part of it is what we're doing. Is we're trying to either find solutions or work on the preventative of how can you plan it in a way that will be best for you. And this is exactly what you're telling me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you about how, like the other people, those circles of support that you're talking about. Clearly, what I'm hearing from you, that you are supporting the mother, her partner, in this new situation that they are in. Part of what you're doing is looking at who can help, who can help you, those circles of support that you're talking about. So let's talk now about the circles of support. Do you have any tips, anything? Because I think a lot of people that will listen to us maybe have given birth already, and they might be in those circles of support. Do you have any tips that, us as friends, family, distant cousins, whatever, how can we best help a woman who just gave birth or she's a few months after, what to pay attention to and how to do it?
Okay, so I want to say firstly that I think that it is something that is culture related.
Cultural related.
Yes, but on the other hand, there are things that will always be good to know, right? Doesn't matter where we come from. So I think that firstly, we need to understand that this woman has gone through a major change, a major event. Even if the birth was amazing or not so good, it's a really, really, really big deal. Okay. And I think that when you come to visit, firstly, don't surprise her. Okay.
Don't come as a surprise.
Don't surprise. Yeah. Just make sure that it's okay. And because maybe she just fell asleep after a night that she didn't sleep or something like that. Bring food that she likes, that is comforting. Make sure that you don't stay too long.
Yeah.
Because maybe she doesn't feel comfortable telling you that she really wants you to leave. So make it for her. Just make it a short visit. Try to maybe
Unless she is asking you, please
of course,
stay.
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, even if she's not asking, make it short.
Yeah.
But when you're there, try to do the dishes. Try to throw away the trash. Try to maybe fold some laundry. I don't think. I mean, of course, it depends how close you are.
Sure.
But
And how comfortable she is for you to do it for her.
Yeah. But I guess that if you're visiting, it means that you are kind of close. But sometimes a woman will not ask for help, but you can see if she looks really, really tired, or really, really like maybe she just needs a shower. Maybe she hasn't washed her hair in like a week and like she hasn't had the time. You can definitely offer her to have the baby and go to shower, but don't push her. Give me the baby. No.
Yeah.
No. Be very gentle.
Yeah.
With everything you do. Be very, very gentle. Everybody needs to remember that we do not control our hormones at this postpartum period. And it's crazy. It's like a roller coaster.
For how long would you
Depends
say?
on the woman, but like the first 2 months are crazy.
Yeah.
And inside those 2 months, the first, 2-3 weeks are, wow. Yeah. So
you see, you forget that.
Of course. Survival
Definitely.
makes you do that.
Yeah.
So just be very gentle, and please do not say anything about things that she's doing, right or wrong. Feeding from a bottle, from the breast, how she's holding them, how she's making them sleep. Do not, please.
Unless you see that something like is dangerous and you need to interfere, do not say anything.
I think that if it's really, really dangerous, then it actually means that something is really wrong with her, right? And then you can just go and tell her partner very gently, but that's like a different story, right? But if you see that, like, if she's doing something, she's not hurting the baby, but you think it's wrong because you did it differently, you don't need to say anything about it at the moment. Maybe you can ask really politely, but I'm saying that just to make clear that it can really hurt. Yeah. It can really, really hurt the woman's feelings.
When somebody does for us what we are supposed to do for ourselves, especially, give him or give her to me, and
for example,
I'll show you how to do it.
I had a client, a mom, with her first baby, and her mother really wanted to help so much, but it turned out that like for a few months, the mother did not shower her baby because the grandmother, her mother, was like, give him to me. You don't know how to do it. I'll do it. And she lost confidence in holding her own child
when bathing them
in the water. Yeah.
Whoa.
And it did such a
damage.
Yeah, exactly. So what I did with her is to bring back her confidence in herself, that she's a good mom, because she already told herself she's not good enough for him, right? Like she's like, how come I don't know how to do it, right? It doesn't, and she believes her mother, right? Yeah, immediately,
of course.
So we need to be very, very cautious with our words and with how we do things around a young mother. It's so like no one talks about that, right? And it's so powerful. So basically, I would say just to be very gentle in anything we do with the mother, but don't throw words without intention. It's really it's a really important thing. And I think what I would like for other people to do is just say, I'm here if you need me. Mm-hmm. Call me whenever, write whenever, even if you want to be silent together, even if you want to cry. I'm here for you, okay? I see you.
But do you think that mothers, again, maybe it's cultural and depends who it is that is offering, but I know a lot of people, you offer them help and they say, no, there's no need. actually in British culture, unless you suggest 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
the first 3 times would be no.
Yeah.
Or maybe the third or the fourth, they will say, yeah, actually, you're offering, then
Yeah.
yes. Culturally.
Yeah.
So do you think it's important to do that? Like,
To keep suggesting?
I'm actually thinking in a different way, that instead of saying, oh, call me when you need me, to say something like,
I'm here
I'm in
for
the
you.
or I'm in a supermarket now. Is there anything you need?
Of course, but it depends on your willingness to actually be there, like in
The relationship.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, for sure. If it's your sister or something like that, of course.
Yeah.
But if you're like a colleague, I don't know. You know, it really depends.
Yeah.
But I think the very least is to say, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
But if you're closer, you can just I usually when I have a friend who gave birth, every day or every 2 days, I would just SMS her. You okay? Do you need anything? I'm here for you. That's it. Maybe she would not respond. That's fine. But I know that if like 1 time out of 10, she needs me and I'm writing this message and she sees that, she knows that I'm there for her and she will talk to me, it's fine. I did my thing, right? Another really important thing that now I remember, I experienced that a lot in my postpartum, is like, okay, for example, he doesn't sleep really well. Like, when will it end? When will he sleep, right? And then someone told me, 6 months, don't worry. When he reaches 6 months, everything will be amazing. And I'm like, okay, I'm putting a timer now for 6 months. But then 6 months arrive and nothing good happened.
He still didn't sleep.
It still didn't sleep. And I was really frustrated because what's wrong with him? Why she told me that and he doesn't do what is supposed to, right? So like, we need to remember that every kid is different, right?
Yeah.
They're all kind of the same, but they're different.
Sure.
So don't make it very clear that this and this needs to happen, because it's really frustrating and it can cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
You can just, I don't know, offer some help, but don't promise someone who doesn't know what will happen that it needs to happen in this and
Sure.
this. Yeah. So
It can put hope, but also pressure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And maybe another thing that I'm thinking about is empowering them, telling them they are doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have the good enough mother.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is it Winnicott? Just, you are good enough as you are. You're doing so well. Even from the little things of, oh, look how he's putting his head on you. A small observation like that, look how he's... to much bigger things that you observe and then comment on them. It can make a huge difference for people, certainly a new mother, but any mother, to kind of feel, I'm good. I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're doing your best.
Yes.
Right? Maybe it's not the best, but it's your best
Your
at the
best.
moment, and it's the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, Tamar, that's just fascinating and something that so many people are going through. And indeed, I don't remember anyone who spoke to me about what's going to happen after. And I gave birth 4 times, and it's, all those times we were also alone. Should we say a word about that? Because we are expats. There's a lot of expats around us. Like you mentioned before, a lot of things are cultural related, how we do things. Some of us are lots of time mothers. Our mother-in-law will come a week before the birth. We'll stay for a month after. For others, we will not even hear about any visitors. They would like to leave us alone. What is... Maybe this will be one of the 2 surprising questions that I'm asking you.
Okay.
Because I think this is surprising. What would be the best tip you can give to the general public who is listening to us and about to give birth or knows somebody who's about to give birth, of how to deal with their needs when they actually do not live in their home country, most possibly away from close family and friends, they are alone. What would you say?
I think that in these situations, preparing in advance is much more important. Find your community, maybe find some women from your culture that you can relate to.
Sure.
Or just find women you can relate to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily from your own culture, but just make sure you're not alone, even if you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to be friends with them, but you have to find certain things that will make you remember who you are, right? I mean, it's so easy to get lost.
Yeah.
Especially when you're abroad. And the food is even different. The air is different. Your kid will be speaking a different language at some point. You know, you're starting to think about different things and situations.
Sure.
And
maybe not to be alone.
Just not to be alone is really, really important. But I think that it's more important to, even if it's one person, to make sure that they see you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think preparing in advance is very important in these cases.
Yeah.
Also, maybe try to have this talk with your partner.
Yeah. So to prepare in advance, to know that you have somebody who's there to support you after, to come and visit and ask you and chat with you, that somebody you trust, obviously.
Luckily, in the Netherlands, we have the Kramzorg.
But she goes after 10 days, 2 weeks max, and then you are alone. I remember that loneliness after my mom left and the Kramzorg left, and all of a sudden you are alone. And it can be very challenging. And the second surprising question that I have for you before you get to ask me a surprising question, is there a book about it? And if not, how about writing one?
Wow. Okay. I don't know if there's a book about this, but one book that is like my Bible, since I'm a mother, is Buddhism for Mothers.
Really?
Yes. And unfortunately, I don't remember the author's name, but she's a woman, and I really believe that every woman should read it. It's very it brings you down to earth. I think it really helped me to remember the little things, not to think very big, to be in the moment, to have a lot of compassion for myself and for my baby and for everything we're going through. I would highly recommend that for any woman giving birth or mothering.
Yeah.
Maybe I will write a book someday.
I think you should.
That's a really good idea.
Well, you come from a discipline where you're writing things and researching. Well, I challenge you here.
Okay.
Guys, a few years from now, Tamar Shain-Paz with her book, Supporting Mothers After Birth.
Okay.
It is your turn to ask me something.
So I wanted to ask you, I think about your first birth, especially. What you thought would mothering be and what it actually was for you.
Well, that's a bit unfair because I don't think that you know that we actually lost our first baby.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he died from birth complications. So I gave birth, on way after time actually, week 42, and there were a lot of complications during his birth, and he was born alive, but not breathing. So
I'm sorry.
Eventually we lost him, yeah. So it's a bit unfair because we came home with empty hands.
Wow.
So that's
a whole different story.
Completely
I'm
different
so
story. And, to start motherhood, emptiness motherhood, completely, that's terrible. I don't wish that for anyone. And we had to, all of a sudden bury our son.
Wow.
Just when we thought we'll bring him home. But I can answer about our daughter, who was born a year and 3 months after. It's shocking. I do remember thinking, I do remember with Elon, our first son, that everything that happened with him made it very clear for me that I'm a very good mother. I fought for him, the way I dealt with everything, the way we held him. I insisted on doing things even in the special care baby unit, and after, the way we let him die in our arms, and the way we buried him and his funeral, everything. I was such a mother with instincts that I didn't know I had, that when I came to give birth to our to the second daughter, who is our first daughter, it's easy because he was a boy, she is a girl. It's easy to say you're the first girl, and I kind of had the feeling that I know what I'm doing because I had those instincts. I had a lot of questions, etc. But it was really a feeling that I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I will make my mistakes. I was very compassionate with myself that I will be fine. I don't know how but I really remember when people came to visit and when they start telling you maybe like this, maybe like that, it is just so annoying. And some were really helpful. It's just the way you do it. It's just the way how you're helping the mother. You're not overtaking her. You're just. And what a lot of people didn't understand, some people did because they were very sensitive, is that it was very hard for me to let go of her. When people came to visit, I held her. There were a few that wanted to leave. Like my mother-in-law, please take her. Because my mother-in-law is the best person with babies ever. She has a knack. She just knows what to do. And she loves it. So the moment she entered the house, I didn't know she's like that with babies. But the minute I saw it, I said, great. Just hold her all the time. But others would just come and kind of grab the baby. They didn't understand that I needed to hold her. Yeah, you're coming to visit me, great, but I need to hold. It was a need, yes.
It's the deepest need, huh? Yeah.
Really is. Yeah. So don't ever grab a baby from a mother. Just ask, will it be possible if I have a little cuddle or something? And most mothers will say yes. Pay attention. If she's letting go or not. I think it could be very, very sensitive. Yes. What a fascinating topic that we really do not talk a lot about.
Yeah. And I feel that we can keep going and going to talk
that
more
will be in
and
your
more
book.
and more.
I will help you to write that book.
Okay.
Or open your own podcast about it. Listen, Tamar, there's such a lot to talk about,
I'm actually, it's going to happen soon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Involve me. Tamar, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
Such a fascinating lady.
Thank you.
We didn't even speak about all your past as an anthropologist. All that we put aside. Maybe for some other time, how we can learn from different cultures. And
definitely.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I had such a great time. Thank you so much.
Thanks. us from you that I forgot to say the name of the movie. The movie is called Babes, and I highly recommend it.